Good day everyone, and hello to my students in BE Ed second year Block 3 and Block 19. This is your teacher Bea, and I am here again to discuss our topic in Lesson 7, which is Instructional Models for Social Studies. So class, in instructional planning, we as teachers, we make decisions as to how best learning goals can be achieved, right? So we have to take into account on how we are going to approach a given unit or lesson so that it will be easily understood by our students, right? So kailangan din natin mag-isip ng set of activities that will ensure student motivation and of course, its participation. At para maisagawa ang mga bagay na ito, tayong mga guro, gumagamit tayo ng tinatawag na instructional model sa pagpaplano ng ating lessons. And here are the objectives for this lesson. First, define an instructional model and explain its importance in instructional planning, and compare and contrast the different instructional models for social studies. Lastly, explain the procedures for each instructional model and apply it to the elementary social studies curriculum. Okay, tayong mga guro, sumusunod tayo sa isang instructional model kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng ating unit or lesson plans, diba? Sabi dito, instructional model serves as a general framework for the process of learning, and it is comprised of a variety of teaching strategies and set of step-by-step procedures that should be done to achieve the instructional goals. So, itong instructional models, ito yung nagsisilbing gabay para sa proseso ng pagkatuto ng mga bata at para maibigay natin yung pangangailangan nila as learners. Tinutulungan tayo nitong instructional models para maunawaan kung paano magdisenyo at mag-deliver ng mga effective learning opportunities. Okay? And class, sa pag-develop ng lesson plan dito sa social studies, you have to be familiar sa iba't ibang klase ng instructional models. Yung format kasi ng procedure ninyo sa inyong lesson plan ay nakadepende sa instructional model na inyong gagamitin. So, this instructional model, it helps facilitate learning most effectively. So now, there are 3 instructional models that teachers can use in social studies lessons. So let's learn more about these 3 instructional models. Okay mga anak, may tanong ako sa inyo. Na-experience nyo na bang gumawa ng isang pagkain tapos hindi nyo maintindihan yung recipe kasi ang daming kailangan gawin? Ano daw? Paano yan? Ano to? May mga times na ganyan tayo eh. Ang ending, hindi na lang natin gagawin o ipapagawa na lang natin sa iba kasi mas naiintindihan nila yung steps. Ganito rin ang nangyayari, class, sa ating mga learners. Okay? Ganon din yung nangyayari sa ating mga learners. Kasi paano kung ganitong klase ng instruction ang ibibigay mo sa mga estudyante mo, mga bata, para malaman natin ang mga susunod na ilalagay sa pattern, tatandaan lang natin ang mga sumusunod. Una, tingnan ang unang larawan, tingnan ang kanyang katangian, tingnan ang hugis, kulay, bilang at laki, tingnan naman ang pangalawang larawan, tingnan ang kanyang katangian, tingnan ang hugis, kulay, bilang at laki, tingnan ang larawan bago ang lang, tingnan kung saan ito nabibilang. O diba? Para sa isang primary learner, napakaraming instructions noon, friend. Malilito ang mga bata. So ngayon, suriin natin yung instructions na nakalagay dyan. Kung mapapansin ninyo, it has a series of steps, diba? Kasi, madalas may mga lessons tayo na nangangailangan ng iba't ibang steps para ito ay maintindihan. Okay, sabi ko nga kanina, madalas may mga lessons tayo na nangangailangan ng iba't ibang steps para maintindihan. Yung mga learners kasi natin, iba-iba yung way nila to process information. Meron tayong learners kasi class na kaya na nilang i-predict at kaya na nilang hulaan kung ano ang susunod na steps sa mga prior knowledge na mayroon na sila. Ito yung mga bata na napakabibilis mag-process ng information. Mga fast learners, diba? Pero paano na lang yung mga learners na hindi kayang mag-absorb ng information within a specific period of time. 'Di ba? Iba-iba yung way ng learners natin to process information and kung paano nila matututunan ang isang konsepto. Ito yung mga bata na kailangan muna silang i-guide ni teacher and kailangan muna nilang matutunan yung konsepto in a step-by-step manner before they become independent learners. Kaya dito natin tatandaan na napaka-importante na ang mga explanation at instructions na ibibigay natin ay clear and complete. And one way of doing that is to use direct instruction model. Ito yung una nating tatalakayin sa topic natin dito sa instructional models. Direct instruction model is the most commonly used instructional model in social studies. Mamaya alamin natin kung bakit ito yung pinakaginagamit ng mga guro sa araling panlipunan sa kanilang pagtuturo. And this is also called as expository learning or explicit learning. And it is highly structured, teacher-centered strategy. Teacher-centered siya kasi si teacher muna yung magde-demonstrate, si teacher muna yung magtuturo bago niya hahayaan yung kanyang learners na maging independent or gumawa sa sarili nila. And it is also highly organized because it provides step-by-step procedures that capitalizes on such behavioral techniques as first, modeling. We have here feedback, and feedback along with reinforcement to promote basic acquisition of skills. And paano ba matututo yung bata? Siyempre, si teacher muna. Dito sa direct instruction model, si teacher muna ang gagawa or magde-demonstrate bago ito gawin ng mga bata. Dito kasi sa modeling class, ito yung technique kung saan ay ipinapakita muna ni teacher or dine-demonstrate muna ni teacher ang isang bagong konsepto or approach sa pag-aaral at natututo ang mga mag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng observation. Yung nagmamasid sila sa ginagawa ni teacher. And whenever a teacher demonstrates a concept for a student, then that teacher is doing this modeling. So, sa pamamagitan ng pagmamasid ng mga bata, mas nalalaman nila kung ano yung dapat nilang gawin and namamasdan nila kung paano ito ginagawa ni teacher. And after that, sila naman yung gagawa with the guide, of course, ni teacher. And during the guided practice sa pag-guide ni teacher, he or she will going to give a feedback. Ano ba tong feedback? Ito yung information na ibinibigay ni teacher sa kanyang mga mag-aaral tungkol sa kanilang naging performance. And ang reason kaya tayo nagbibigay ng feedback, 'di ba, ay para sa improvement ng pagkatuto ng ating mga learners. And meron niyang tinatawag na good feedback. Ito yung kung saan ginagamit ni teacher ay mga salitang hindi kinakailangang negatibo, but more descriptive and genuine in a way na hindi niya kailangang malungkot o maging defensive. Bagkus yung learner, mas nai-inspire pa sila at mas nai-encourage pa sila na i-develop yung dapat pang baguhin or dapat pang i-develop sa kanilang mga sarili dahil sa feedback ni teacher. And itong reinforcement, napakaganda nito, lalo na yung positive reinforcement, which motivates students to do what they are capable of doing. Yung such as nagbibigay tayo ng praises and ini-encourage natin sila to do their best and wag silang malungkot kung sila man ay nagkamali kasi dun sa pagkakamali na yun ay dun sila talaga totoong matututo. And with that, nararamdaman ng mga bata na totoo yung concern ni teacher and totoo yung pagbibigay natin sa kanila ng appreciation. Okay? In order for the students to learn, the teacher first should convey facts and details. And after conveying those facts and details, the teacher should demonstrate skills and learning. Yun nga, kanina sabi ko sa inyo, dine-demonstrate ni teacher yung dapat matutunan ng mga bata, and through observation, they will going to learn. And after that, the teacher should provide immediate feedback. So, bakit kailangan instant yung feedback na ibibigay? Kasi class, ito yung nagiging daan para mas mapaunlad pa ang kaalaman at kakayahan ng mga bata sa pamamagitan ng pagwawasto ng kanilang pagkakamali, pagpapatibay ng kakayahan, and of course, to remove the misconceptions on the topic. And the more frequent and consistently you provide a feedback, the better. And lastly, give guided independent practices to test student learning. Okay? And the strategies that fall under this model are here, the teaching strategies: lectures, class discussion, and demonstration. Okay, in social studies classroom, direct instructional model is commonly used when teacher is going to transmit content information about history, communities, government, and culture. Kung mapapansin ninyo class, itong mga subject na ito ay ang mga lessons dito ay nangangailangan ng step-by-step procedure para mas maunawaan ng mga bata. So, itong direct instruction model, tinutulungan ito yung teacher na makapag-convey ng facts and details in an organized way para hindi malito yung mga bata at para din clear and concise and complete ang explanation ng teacher nang sa ganon ay effective yung kanyang instruction. And it also impart skills such as how to read a map and offer an explanation. Ayan, medyo higher na yung order thinking skills dito. And example, why the country is divided into regions. So, maraming guro ang gumagamit nitong direct instructional model dahil din sa kahusayan nito or sa efficiency ng model na to. Because given a wide range of topics and a short period of time, explicit teaching or itong direct instructional model, it allows them to cover the curriculum and finish the scope and sequence for the whole year. Okay, isa sa advantages nitong direct instructional model is nabibigyan ng sapat na panahon yung mga bata para pag-aralan at para mamasdan nila yung demonstration na ginagawa ni teacher. And during observation of the demonstration, mas naihahanda nila yung sarili nila sa mga dapat nilang matutunan. And after demonstration of skills, yung mga learners naman ang magpa-practice nung dinemonstrate ni teacher. And during those practice, si teacher syempre, i-guide niya yung mga students niya. And she will going to give immediate feedback para alam ng mga bata kung saan pa sila dapat ma-develop, kung saan pa bang part ng lesson sila nahihirapan. And after that, hahayaan na ni teacher yung mga bata na gumawa o magtrabaho on their own. They will become an independent learners. And because of this step-by-step process ng pagkatuto ng bata, it really promotes mastery. Kaya madaming teachers na gumagamit nitong direct instruction model because of its efficiency. Yung resulta nito is nakikita sa mastery ng students sa mga lessons na tinuturo ni teacher. And also, it is vital in presenting basic facts and information that serve as a foundation for lessons that emphasize critical thinking and problem solving. Siyempre, bago naman talaga mag-arrive yung mga students sa pag-develop ng kanilang critical thinking and problem solving, dapat alam muna nila kung ano yung pinag-aaralan nila. And paano nila yun malalaman? It is through the facts and information na binibigay ni teacher sa kanila. One example of direct instruction is the Hunter 7-step model. It was developed by Madeline Hunter, who believed that this model can be adopted by any grade level and subject. It can be done by following these steps. So, class, tandaan nyo na ang direct instruction model, pwede siyang gamitin in any grade level at kahit sa anong asignatura. Tatandaan nyo lang itong mga sumusunod na steps. First, anticipatory set. And after doing that, the teacher should state the objective and purpose. And after stating objective and purpose, the teacher should give the inputs. Ano ba yung inputs? Ito na yung time or step kung saan magtuturo na si teacher. He or she will going to convey those facts and details. And fourth, modeling. So after input after the inputs, the teacher should demonstrate the skills that the students should master in this specific lesson. And fifth, checking for understanding. Syempre, after nag-demonstrate si teacher, tatanungin niya muna yung mga estudyante niya kung ano ba yung natutunan doon sa pag-demonstrate niya. And after that, guided practice. Okay? And ikapito, independent practice. Class, tatandaan nyo ang steps na yan. Yan yung yan yung procedure. Dapat magkakasunod ang mga yan. Hindi yan pwedeng jumbled. Hindi yan pwedeng magulo. Guluhin mo na yung jowa mo, wag lang yung steps ng instructional model mo. Okay? Okay, ngayon naman, isa-isahin natin yung Hunter 7-step model. Una, yung tinatawag na anticipatory set. So here, the teacher motivates the students by directing their attention to the lesson. And paano niya magagawa yun? He or she may pose a question, show a video or picture, or tell a story. Itong anticipatory set class, ginagawa ito bago mag-start yung lesson. Okay? The teacher should give a motivational activities first in a form of, yun nga, sabi ko kanina, question, show a video or picture, or tell a story. Ito yung itong anticipatory set, ito yung maliit na part ng lesson na ibinibigay muna ni teacher para makuha yung attention ng learners and to also activate their prior knowledge at para maihanda sila sa kanilang mapag-aaralan na topic sa araw na iyon. Okay? Okay, next we have the objective and purpose. Teacher states the purpose and objectives of the lesson so that students will know what they learn and why it is useful. So, importanteng malaman ng mga learners yung objectives para maihanda nila yung mga sarili nila sa learnings na dapat nilang ma-acquire after the lesson. Okay, third we have the input. This is the time that the teachers present the lesson content through lecture, discussions, reading, observing, and other possible means. Ito na yung time na kung saan after the anticipatory set and after stating the objectives and purpose, magsisimula ng mag-discuss si teacher or mag-lecture si teacher. This is daw the time na ibibigay niya yung mga facts and details na dapat tandaan at matutunan ng mga bata na magagamit nila para sa mga susunod na activities na ibibigay ni teacher. Okay? Okay, next we have the modeling. The teacher, an invited resource person, or a member of the class demonstrates what all students should be able to do. Sabi ko nga kanina sa modeling, dito makikita ang demonstration of skill ni teacher na siyang gagayahin ng mga learners after ito gawin ni teacher. In other words, dito ipapakita ni teacher ang lesson na susundan ng mga estudyante at gagawin din nila after. Okay? Okay, next step, we have checking for understanding. The teacher asks question or request demonstration from students to ensure that they understood the lesson. So, here's a checking for understanding. Ina-assess ni teacher kung ano ba yung natutunan ng mga bata doon sa dinemonstrate niyang skill, doon sa facts na ibinigay niya during the time that she was giving some inputs. And also, yung background knowledge na dinadala ng estudyante sa klase ay nakaka-impluwensya yon kung paano nila nauunawaan yung learning materials na ibinahagi mo and the lessons or learning opportunities that you provided them. Okay? Next, we have the guided practice. The students are asked to perform individual tasks while the teacher roams around the classroom to ensure that they are doing it correctly. So, dito sa guided practice, prone pa po sa errors ang mga bata kasi pinapractice pa lang naman nila yung mga binigay mong steps nung ikaw yung nagtuturo during the modeling part. And si teacher din ang mag-guide sa kanila as they proceed to the activity. Actually, class, kahit ano naman na activity, pwede naman natin gamitin para sa guided practice as long as you guide them. You assist them and you support them while they are doing the activities. Guided practice yan. Sa guided practice din kasi, dito lumilitaw kung naiintindihan na nila yung competency kasi nako-correct nila yung sagot nila and yung sagot din ng iba. Kasi minsan sinasabi nila, ay mali yan kasi sabi kanina ni teacher ganito, diba? So, dito nangyayari yon sa guided practice. Basta ang tatandaan nyo lang, sa guided practice, you have to support them and you have to give a quick feedback to the learners dahil nagpa-practice pa lang naman sila ng mga steps na pinakita mo sa modeling part. Okay? Okay, last step in Hunter's 7-step model is the independent practice. Once all students demonstrate their knowledge, the teacher gives them tasks which they should perform completely without the aid of the teacher. So, ito yung activity na hahayaan yung learners na magtrabaho o gumawa ng activity na hindi mo na tinutulungan. Para siyang mini quiz, kumbaga. Ang independent practice ay laging individual activity. Kasi kapag naging collaborative work yan, magiging guided practice yan. Lagi yung tatandaan na ang independent practice, ang kailangan na activity dito ay mag-isa na lang ang learners na gumawa nito para maintindihan niya yung lesson. Okay? Just remember sa paggawa ng guided at independent practice, it should always connects to the series of steps na inintroduce mo kanina during the modeling part. Ang modeling part class, guided at independent practices ay laging magkakadugtong, and while they are doing the activities, you have to do the important part of the direct instruction, which is giving feedback. Kasi 'di ba, sa kahit ano namang pagtuturo, kailangan nagbibigay tayo ng feedback para malaman ng mga learners kung tama ba o mali yung ginagawa nila. Kasi it will reduce the chances that they will practice the skill with errors. So one way of doing this is to assist the learners during the guided practice, or mag-provide tayo ng score sheets kapag meron tayong pag-group activity during the guided practice. In that way kasi, mamomonitor natin kung sino pa ang mga estudyanteng nangangailangan ng tulong natin. Maliwanag? Okay, let's proceed now to the application of Hunter's 7-step model. Okay, for example, ang topic natin ngayon ay ang aking kwento. Nanggaling siya sa grade 1 level, at ang competency ay nakikilala ang timeline at ang gamit nito sa pag-aaral ng mahalagang pangyayari sa buhay hanggang sa kasalukuyang edad. Paano natin ngayon ilalapat yung direct instructional model gamit yung 7 steps ni Hunter? Ganito. Sa first column yung process at nasa second column yung application. Siyempre first, 'di ba? Yung anticipatory set muna. Magbibigay ng motivational activities si teacher para ma-ready yung mga estudyante sa topic na pag-aaralan nila ngayong araw. Ayan, tingnan niyo sa application. Magpapakita ang guro ng 5 larawan na nagpapakita ng iba't ibang yugto sa buhay ng isang hayop. Ngayon, inatasan niya ang klase na isaayos ang mga ito ayon sa pagkakasunod-sunod at magbigay ng caption or title na maglalarawan sa bawat picture. Okay, after giving motivational activities, this is now the time na ibibigay ni teacher yung objectives and purposes. Okay? Isinasaad ng guro ang layunin ng aralin upang malaman kung ano ang isang timeline at kung paano ito ginagamit sa paglalahad ng mga mahalagang kaganapan sa buhay ng isang tao. So in this step, malalaman ng mga bata kung bakit nila yun gagawin at kung ano yung purpose nito at kung ano yung kung gaano ba ito ka-useful. Ayan. And next step, we have the input. Dito, inilalahad ng guro ang aralin sa pamamagitan ng talakayan o pagkukwento. Dito na si teacher magbibigay ng facts and details about the topic, na kung saan yung makukuha or matututunan na facts or information ng mga estudyante ay magagamit nila sa mga susunod na steps. And next, after giving the input, the teacher now should do the modeling. Dito ipapakita ng guro ang kanyang sariling timeline na naglalaman ng 5 mahahalagang kaganapan sa kanyang buhay. So, si teacher muna yung magde-demonstrate. Okay, sarili niya muna yung gagawin niyang example bago niya hahayaan yung bata na gumawa ng sarili nila. Okay? And after modeling, this is now the time that the teacher will going to check the understanding of the learners about the lessons that he or she being demonstrated during the modeling part. So, sa application, magtatanong si teacher, ano ang timeline, ano ang itsura nito, at paano ito magagamit upang maipakita ang kwento ng isang tao. Pansinin ninyo yung questions. Diyan pa lang sa questions na yan, malalaman na ni teacher sa magiging sagot ng kanyang learners kung ito ba ay kung naintindihan ba ng learners yung itinuro niya during the modeling part. Ayan. And next is the guided practice. Ang guro ay magbibigay ng isang worksheet na mayroon ng nakalagay na timeline at kailangang magbigay ang mga mag-aaral ng 5 mga kaganapan na nangyari sa kanila sa nakaraang linggo o buwan. Ang guro ay maglilibot sa paligid ng silid-aralan upang suriin ang ginawa ng mga mag-aaral at siya ay magbibigay ng agarang feedback. And last, after the guided practice, syempre alam na ng mga estudyante kung saan part pa sila ng lesson nahihirapan at alam din ng teacher kung sino pa ang dapat niyang tulungan. After doing those, sa kanya na ipapagawa yung tinatawag na activities sa independent practice. Dito ang application, ang guro ay magbibigay ng isang takdang aralin na nagtuturo sa mga mag-aaral na lumikha ng kanilang sariling timeline na nagtatampok ng 8 mahahalagang kaganapan sa kanilang buhay mula sa pagsilang hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Ayan. So, dito sa independent practice, mag-isa na lang yung mga bata at mag-isa na lang para mas maunawaan niya yung lesson na itinuro ni teacher. Okay, next instructional model, we have the inquiry model. Ngayon, alamin natin kung ano yung pagkakaiba nito doon sa naunang direct instruction model. Okay? Inquiry model is an investigative process based on the examination of evidence, often using questioning, hypothesis testing, and data gathering to arrive at an evidence-based conclusion. And it is one of the most indirect approaches in social studies instruction. So, ito yung learning process class kung saan natututo ang mga bata by making real-world connections through exploration and high level of questioning. Isa itong approach na humihikayat sa mga learners to engage in problem solving and experiential learning. Kung kanina sa direct instruction model, si teacher ang responsible sa pagbibigay ng clear definitions or explanation in a form of lecture. Dito naman sa inquiry model, which is indirect instruction, the teacher puts more of the responsibility of learning to the students. Learning by doing, kumbaga. Dito, ibang-iba ito sa direct instruction dahil dito sa inquiry model, yung learners ang responsible sa kanilang learnings. Okay? But also, with the guidance of the teachers, syempre. And this is introduced by John Dewey in 1920s. And since this is an investigative process, this is mostly used by the social scientists in doing historical, anthropological, and sociological researches. Inquiry model also promotes the development of research skills and the use of critical thinking since ang learners ay pinapagamit ng iba't ibang sources to arrive at valid conclusions. And sa topics naman na may real-world applications, the learners solve practical problems using scientific method. So, ang main challenge para sa mga guro na gumagamit nito ay yung tinatawag na time allotment because it is impossible to use the inquiry model in every lesson because it is highly possible that the teacher will fail to cover the curriculum for the school year. Ayan. Tatandaan niyo lang class na dito sa inquiry model that since it is a student approach or learner-centered, we should actively guide our students in the search for answers. Kailangan pa rin nila ng guidance natin. Totoo ito, lalo na sa lower elementary grades, upang masiguro na magkakaroon sila ng tamang konklusyon. Okay po? Okay, let's have an example of inquiry model. We have here the Banks model. So here are, the Banks model is being outlined with the following steps. First, posing a question or inquiry, and after that, you have to encourage students to formulate hypotheses and gather and analyze data and determine whether to accept or reject hypothesis based on the conclusion. Okay, tatandaan nyo itong step by step dito sa Banks model, ha? Okay, ngayon naman alamin natin kung paano ilalapat itong Banks model sa ating specific lesson. Okay, for example, ang topic natin ngayon ay ang katangiang pisikal ng aking bansa. Galing siya sa grade 4 level. At ang competency ay nailalarawan ang bansa ayon sa mga katangiang pisikal at pagkakakilanlang geographical nito. Ngayon, paano natin dito ilalapat yung inquiry model? Eto, pansinin niyo yung process sa first column and application sa second column. First, the teacher should pose a question for inquiry. Dito sa pagbibigay ng question, the teacher should make sure that the question can be answered using data and evidence. Okay, suriin natin dito sa application yung question na ibinigay. Ano ang katangiang pisikal ng Pilipinas? Ngayon, is this question can be answered using data and evidence? Yes, it is. Tingnan natin. Dumako tayo dito sa second process. The teacher should encourage students to formulate hypotheses. So, from that question na ibinigay ni teacher, the students now is going to give or formulate hypotheses kung ano ang katangiang pisikal ng Pilipinas. And sa pagbibigay ng hypothesis ng mga bata, dapat manggaling ito sa kanilang sariling observation, pwede din sa prior knowledge or experiences nila, or even they can use logic for them to arrive as many hypotheses as possible. Ngayon, suriin natin sa application part. Ibabahagi ng mga mag-aaral ang kanilang hypothesis at halimbawa. Hypothesis A, ang Pilipinas ay napaliligiran ng tubig. Hypothesis B, maraming bundok sa Pilipinas. Hypothesis C, mas malaki ang Pilipinas kaysa sa Estados Unidos. And hypothesis D, mainit ang Pilipinas. So, based doon sa mga ibinigay na hypothesis, makikita natin na yung hypothesis na ibinigay ng mga bata ay nanggaling 'di ba sa kanilang observation, sa experiences, or sa prior knowledge and even sa logic na meron sila. And next, after formulating hypothesis, the students now will going to gather and analyze data. So, class, tatandaan ninyo na kahit student-centered itong inquiry model, we should always be involved ourselves in the data collection process ng mga bata para masiguro na yung learners will going to draw valid and reliable conclusions. And dito din, bibigyan ng teacher ng pangkatang gawain ang mga learners para madiskubre kung ano ba talaga yung katangiang pisikal ng Pilipinas base sa pagkakakilanlang geographical nito. Sila mismo yung mag-gather ng data, but also with our guidance para then valid and reliable yung conclusions na maibigay nila. And after gathering and analyzing data, they are going to determine whether accept or reject the hypothesis based on conclusion. So kanina, 'di ba, nagbigay ng ilang hypothesis yung mga estudyante. And because of gathering and analyzing data, nalaman nila yung totoong katangiang pisikal ng Pilipinas, at doon sa hypothesis na ibinigay ng mga bata, pipili sila doon kung alin ba doon ang tama at kapaki-pakinabang. At ngayon, sa application, iuulat ng mga mag-aaral ang kanilang mga natuklasan sa harap ng klase. At pagkatapos, syempre, magpapasya ang klase kung aling mga teorya o hypothesis ang tatanggapin at tatanggihan batay sa kanilang pananaliksik. Okay, the next model or the last one is the cooperative learning model. Ngayon, tingnan natin kung ano naman ang pagkakaiba nitong cooperative learning model doon sa direct and inquiry model. Okay, cooperative learning model is a popular instructional approach in which small groups of students work together toward a common learning goal. So, dito more on group activities and student-centered din ang learning model na ito. And since schools are tasked to develop not only cognitive skills but also their social and interpersonal skills. So, yung social and interpersonal skills ng mga bata, dito yon madidevelop by using activities, group activities here in cooperative learning models. And it promotes positive relationships with peers, syempre, and trains students collaborate with people. Skills that very much needed in the real world. Alam naman natin na sa K-12 curriculum, isa sa mga dapat K-12 curriculum framework, isa dapat sa mga develop ng mga bata ay yung interpersonal, di ba? Interpersonal skills and social skills. Cooperative learning model can be used with other instructional models such as direct instruction and inquiry. So, isa sa magandang katangian nitong cooperative learning models ay pwede mo ditong i-incorporate yung naunang dalawang instructional models na tinalakay natin. And examples of learning activities here are jigsaw, brainstorming, and role-playing approach. So, sa mga susunod nating lessons class, tuturuan ko kayong gumawa ng lesson plan using jigsaw, brainstorming, and role-playing approach. Okay, this is, yung mga lesson plan dito ay more on group activities, pero susubukan natin gamitin din yung direct instruction and inquiry model together with cooperative learning model. Okay, tingnan naman natin ngayon yung elements of cooperative learning model. Ano-ano ba itong mga elements na ito? First, we have the objective and task. We have to ensure that cooperative learning is compatible with the objectives. Take note of that. And dapat yung task na ibibigay ni teacher ay challenging and rewarding that will require many skills at maiwasan din ng mga learners ang maging dependent sa isa o dalawang tao. And also, the size of the groups and method of assigning members. Ayan. Sabi ni Cohen, dapat yung grupo na bubuin sa loob ng klase ay 5 grupo lang or hindi siya lalampas sa 5 grupo. And sabi naman ni Kagan, suggest that the group is only 4. Ayan. Depende naman kasi yan sa bilang ng mga estudyante sa loob ng isang klase kung ilang grupo ba ang bubuin ninyo, okay, sa isang klase at kung ilang miyembro sa bawat grupo. But, the teacher should implement heterogeneous grouping and ensure that there is a fair distribution of abilities and gender intergroups. So, dapat sa isang grupo, diverse yung members. Iba-iba yung skills na meron sila. And in any case, dapat tiyakin ng guro na hindi masyadong malaki yung kabuoang miyembro ng pangkat kasi may tendency dyan na madi-discourage yung ibang member sa pakikilahok sa mga gawain. So, as much as possible, hindi masyadong malaki yung kabuoang miyembro sa bawat pangkat. Okay? Okay, roles. Teacher should ensure that members of the group have roles to play. So, ang examples of such roles are facilitator or leader, recorder or yung tinatawag na secretary ng grupo, and monitor or yung checker ng grupo. Roles can be assigned by the teachers and decided by the students. Okay? And also, corresponding tasks should be emphasized, syempre. And self and peer evaluation should be implemented to ensure accountability para ma-ensure ng mga bata yung responsibility nila as a member of the group. And roles should also be rotated to give opportunities for growth to every student. Okay? And 4, room arrangement and materials. Groups must be seated each other to allow ease of communication. Ayan. And group material should be tended by member of the group to foster accountability and responsibility. Okay? Para maging responsable ang bawat miyembro ng grupo. And the example of cooperative learning model is the Student Teams Achievement Division or the STAD. Tingnan natin yung step-by-step process dito sa STAD. Okay, STAD is an example of the cooperative learning model that promotes individual accountability and teamwork through following procedure. Ayan. First, direct instruction. Second, teams. Third, quiz. And fourth, individual progress score. Ayan. And fifth, meron pa team recognition. Una, direct instruction. Ibig sabihin, si teacher muna yung magbibigay ng lessons. Okay, i-discuss muna ni teacher kung ano ba yung mga dapat na matutunan ng mga bata at dapat nilang ma-acquire na magagamit nila sa mga susunod na activities. And next, after giving instructions, igugrupo na ni teacher yung mga estudyante into teams. And after that, the teacher will going to give quiz and individual progress score and the team recognition. Alamin natin kung paano ito ilalapat sa ating magiging topic. This is now the application of Student Teams Achievement Division or the STAD model. For example, ang topic natin ngayon ay mga patakaran at programa ng mga pangulo bilang pagtugon sa mga hamon sa kasarinlan. Galing siya sa grade 6 level. At ang learning competency dito ay nasusuri ang mga patakaran at programa sa pamahalaan upang matugunan ang mga suliranin at hamon sa kasarinlan at pagkabansa ng mga Pilipino. Ayan. Ngayon, ilalapat natin dito yung STAD model sa cooperative learning model. Ayan. So, first sa process, we have direct instruction. So, dito ilalahad ng guro ang mga layunin at tatalakayin ng aralin sa paggamit ng chart, talahanayan at graphic organizer upang ma-highlight ang mga patakaran at programa ng bawat administrasyon. So, meron baga tayong iba't ibang administration dito sa Pilipinas. Para mas madaling maunawaan at matandaan yun ng mga bata, kailangan gumamit yung guro ng chart, or it can be given or provided sa gamit yung tables or gamit yung graphic organizer. So dito, the teacher should enumerate the objectives and present the lesson through lecture, discussion, and of course, the most important is the demonstration. And after the direct instruction, yung teacher is hahatiin na or magbibigay na ng pangkatang gawain sa bawat grupo. So, hihilingin sa klase na gawin ang nakatalagang gawain kasama ang kanilang mga pangkat at kumpletuhin ng isang individual na worksheet na nagbubuod sa aralin. At ayan, the class is divided into heterogeneous small groups. Small groups lang ha. At dapat yung mga miyembro ng bawat grupo ay nagtutulungan sa pag-unawa ng lesson na itinuro ni teacher at siguraduhin ang mastery ng bawat isa sa tulong ng worksheet na ginawa ni teacher. Kasi dito, hindi na lang to pang individual eh. Ang kasi dito, ang score ng isa ay score na ng bawat grupo. Okay? Ng buong grupo. And after that, the teacher should give quiz. Ang guro ay magbibigay ng isang individual na pagsusulit. Ayan. After the quiz, titingnan natin ngayon yung individual progress score. So, ang marka na nakuha ng mga mag-aaral sa ibinigay na pagsusulit ay ihahambing sa average score ng kanilang nakuha sa mga nakaraang pagsusulit. So, yung mga nakakuha ng increase score or pagtaas ng score compared sa nakaraang pagsusulit ay bibigyan ng 5 points para sa kanilang pangkat. Okay? At after the individual progress score, doon na tayo pupunta na sa team recognition. Sa pagtatapos ng quarter, ang mga pangkat na nakakuha ng 100 pataas na score ay bibigyan ng karagdagang 1 point para sa kanilang final grade. Okay? And this cooperative learning model, this encourages the team members to work for the group rather than just themselves. This can inspire increased engagement with work to make sure they don't let the team down. Okay? Once again, we have discussed the 3 instructional models in social studies, and these are direct instructional model, inquiry model, and cooperative learning model. Uulitin ko, sa pag-develop ng inyong lesson plan dito sa social studies, you have to be familiar to the different kinds of instructional models. Yung format ng procedure ninyo kasi sa inyong lesson plan ay nakadepende yon sa instructional model na inyong gagamitin. It also helps facilitate learning most effectively. So, don't worry, gagayad ko naman kayo sa paggawa ng inyong lesson plan gamit itong mga models na tinalakay natin. And I will also provide examples of lesson plans using these instructional models na tinalakay natin. And I will going to post that in your Google Classroom, those examples of lesson plans, and you also have to study those. Kasi yun yung magiging guide ninyo para sa paggawa din ninyo ng sarili ninyong lesson plan. Okay? Be ready! And this ends our discussion in Lesson 7. I hope you learned something new today. Again, this is your teacher Bea. Keep safe mga anak. Have a good day. God bless you. Bye-bye!